Hello everybody, welcome back to Photoshop Tips and Tricks. Today we are working inside of Photoshop CC and I got a question from Linda Gardner on Twitter. She asks, Sean, is there a way to give an image an infrared look if I didn't shoot it on infrared film? There is. There's a lot of different things that you could do in Photoshop, and not a lot of people think of infrared as an option in Photoshop, but it is. I'm going to show you how to give that effect to an image. What's nice about this tutorial is that everybody has a different look and feel of anything in Photoshop, especially when it comes to infrared. So you could definitely tweak this to your liking, and you can, this non-destructive, the way that I'm going to show you how to do this, so you can go back and make changes and tweaks to your liking. I'm going to show you how I like to do my infrared, and then you can learn from what I'm going to show you and then tweak as you like with what amount of each option you want to do, because there's really no right or wrong way to do this. Just like a lot of things in Photoshop, it's pretty much to taste. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this picture here that I took up in New York, up by the Catskill Mountains, and we are going to put an adjustment layer on this for black and white. Okay? Now, right off the bat, you can see that if you go to your black and white adjustments here, there is an infrared, but we're not going to stop there. Look how, that looks. We're going to take it to the next step, and we're going to make it so it doesn't look as flat or overproduced. We're going to tweak it, and then when we're done in this panel, we're going to actually go and we're going to add some things that give it a more realistic look, so it actually looks like it was shot in infrared. So we have our default settings here, but then we're going to take our adjustment slider and we're going to really crank that sky down to give it a really good depth. Of course, this is to your liking. Now you'll notice if you're working in JPEG, you're going to get what's called banding, but that's okay, because later on in this tutorial I'm going to show you a way to cover that up. But if you're working in RAW, you won't have to really worry as much. Remember, you're compressing this file as you're editing it. Okay? And then of course we're going to tone this down tremendously because it's quite bright. And what's nice about these sliders is you can adjust everything to taste. So you may want the foreground to be bright and the background to be black, or you may want to have like a level balance. It's up to you. Everybody has a different taste when it comes to infrared. The nice thing about this is it's non-destructive, and everything that you do can be changed later on and edited if you want to make changes. So I think that's going to be good for now the way it is. Okay? The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our background layer here. Okay? And we're going to turn this into a smart object, and we're going to work off the smart object. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Filter Gallery. We're going to look for something called Diffused Glow, which you'll find in the Distort panel. Okay? We're going to zoom out here because we're going to be working on this entire image, so we want to see what we're doing. And then here are some of the options that we have with Diffused Glow. Now, don't worry about that banding, because like I said before, we're going to mess with the grainness. So we're going to add some noise to give it that film look, and that will also cover a lot of the banding. If you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, Sean, you're working on a colored image, what happened to my infrared, my black and light layer? Remember, that's its own layer. We're not working off of that layer. It's still there, but we don't see it because we're working off of the smart object layer, the underlying layer, the original background layer that we turn into a smart object. So that will come into play after we leave here, but it's still there. We just don't see it because we're not working off of it. Okay, then we have a glow amount here. Again, this is all to liking. You're definitely going to want to really get in here and play with these sliders, because it's going to depend on your taste, and it's also going to depend on the image. So there's really, like I said, no wrong or way to do this. Okay, so we're going to kind of give it that glowish look, but we're not going to overdo it though. Okay, so I'm just in here basically playing with some options here. Okay, see how differently you can get it to look? You have the clear amount. Of course, if you go more towards the right, you're going to get more detail, but less effect. Alright, we're going to say OK for that. Alright, and there we go. Again, if we want to make more adjustments, we can definitely go back in here. We can continue to make our adjustments. Maybe we want to tone the sky down a little bit, give it that grainy look. Maybe bring the grass up a little bit more. See? You can always go back and make your changes. And that's pretty much how I do my infrareds. Now, another cool thing that you can do also is if you want a little touch of color, which looks really good on infrared, you can go to your black and white layer here, and you can go to opacity and you can drop it down a bit. Now watch. Look, I just introduced some color to that. Okay? And it kind of gives it that infrared look. And again, that's up to taste, how much the opacity you want to bring, how much color. I like just a little dab. So I'll actually show you before and after. So it's at 90%. There's black and white. And there's 90%. So gives it that little bit of color that kind of sets it apart. And that is how I do my infrared. Thanks for the question. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Try it out, and I will talk to you again soon on the next Photoshop Tips and Tricks episode. Take care.